Years later, the team disintegrated and Sakaki disappeared without a trace. Meows and cats disappeared one after another, and Musashi went further and further on the road to coordinating the family, marrying into a woman. Kojiro had no choice but to inherit the family property. As the league system matured, the Rockets struggled to survive. He was once a member of the Sasaki family and was exposed for colluding with them. The destruction of his family, the death of his parents, and the betrayal of his fiancée have all caused Kojiro to become a mouse in a dark corner. The Rockets need him, even if the team only has one person left. The Rocket team, known as the second-generation leader who will lead the organization to become stronger again, who supported the sunset, died at the hands of acquaintances. He hates it. There are too many regrets. I don't have strong enough strength. Gentle and kind people gradually become numb, becoming fierce, cunning, and decisive, with the only emotional bond to elves remaining unchanged. Too tired, my vision gradually blurs. When I open my eyes again, perhaps everything is in time. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Little Jiro from the second week. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Changpan Forest. Known as the largest forest in the elf world, it connects the two major regions of Kanto and Chengdu. Legend has it that those who receive the favor of the evergreen forest will receive the evergreen power, one of the 3 special abilities. Who? Ha! The sunlight shone through the dense forest, and under the big tree, a young man suddenly woke up and took a deep breath of fresh air. A head of purple-blue hair, slightly messy, with a slender figure and a handsome face, with fine beads of sweat on the forehead, it is not difficult to see that it seems like a survivor from disaster. Am I alive? This is the Longpan Forest, why are you there? It's already. Looking around, a fierce expression flashed in Kojiro's eyes, and as he looked around, it became increasingly difficult to conceal his shock. He was still wearing the team uniform from his time with his 2 old friends. The clothes are black and white, with a large R letter carved on the chest, and wearing a pair of black gloves. Finally, he took a breath and said, "Go back to the past, because of the shattered great diamond. Anyway, there's still time for everything. Tianjiji, you won't become the champion of Guandu as you wish in this life." Thousands of thoughts surged into my heart, and decades of ups and downs couldn't stop my body trembling with excitement. Everything seemed to be vividly remembered. He was reborn, and judging from his physical condition and location, it is highly likely that it was during the Kanto period. It also means that Xiaoji, the enemy of the previous life and the person who won the strongest championship in the history of Guandu, has just begun his journey. After the 8 masters, the Rockets underwent significant changes, with Sakaki, the leader that Kojiro once admired the most, disappearing, and the team falling apart as a result. When I was young, I was too stubborn, and without the support of my parents and family, how could a small member of the Rocket team directly meet with the highest leader of the organization? Kojiro died on the path of the Revival Rockets, and the league representative responsible for executing this action was Champion Tanjiro, Kochi. Not caring about his past feelings, perhaps never treating him as a friend, or perhaps touching the other person's intolerable bottom line. But no matter what, there is no right or wrong, only a stance. Unconsciously, the hands clenched tightly into fists. Everything is like a dream. Clear yet helpless. Dong. Dong. A solitary Pokémon ball on his waist kept shaking, and Kojiro grabbed it in his hand. His eyes were full of complexity, and he still threw it towards the side before bouncing back into his hand. During this period, white light suddenly appeared, with a purple body in a thin balloon-like body. It has protrusions on its body, some of which emit toxic gas. It has 2 downward pointed teeth in its mouth, and a skull-shaped elf appears on its abdomen. It was after joining the Rockets that he first accompanied his gas bomb. Gas. The silly little face showed a worried expression and slowly drifted over, worried about the injuries on the fecal shovel official's body, and it also suffered considerable injuries. That damn little devil and Pikachu. I'm fine. I haven't eaten anything all day, so I'm hungry, right? Kojiro understood the concern of the gas bomb and waved his hand, as well as rubbed his dry stomach. Suddenly, one person, one pet, looked at each other and smiled. But in an imperceptible moment, excitement and doubt flashed through Kojiro's eyes, and a data graph about gas bombs flickered brightly. Elf. Gas bullet qualification. Light green strength. Normal level low. Level attribute. Poison characteristics. Chemical change gas carrying items. Learn skills. Impact, poison gas, turbid mist, mud attack, malicious pursuit, big bang, same life. Note. The thin balloon-shaped body is filled with highly toxic gas, so sometimes a big explosion can occur. The latest elf guidebook product developed before rebirth, I didn't expect it to come with me. It must be a powerful assistance in this era. It can be considered a unique existence, and judging the talent of elves basically depends on personal judgment. Kojiro thought to himself, ultimately attributing the cause to the previously unexpectedly obtained fragments of the great diamond treasure jade. This thing has a mysterious origin, but it is related to the famous god of time, Emperor Yaluka. People are divided into different levels, and elves also have different qualifications, representing future potential from low to high. Red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, purple. Each potential corresponds to a different strength upper limit, while the highest potential upper limit of the gas bomb corresponds to the level of the museum owner. If one can elevate their qualifications to dark green, they will be able to surpass the quasi-king level at the highest. The quasi-heavenly king level is actually a subdivision, and the gap between the owner and the heavenly king level is too large, which leads to such a statement. But that's not important anymore. The potential of elves is constantly changing, and Kojiro is the pinnacle of the heavenly king level powerhouse. In this life, will we not let down gas bombs again and release them for an unknown group of gas bombs? Get the hell out of here. It's so foolish. He won't leave any more regrets. Let me treat you. Touching the uneven head of the gas bomb, Kojiro opened his other hand. Concentrated, however, as time passed, he frowned tightly and felt relieved. During the process, a gentle wind blew by and the forest rustled. The reason why he was able to fall behind Xiaoji too much in his past life and still strive to catch up is even known as the second generation of the rockets. Everything can be attributed to the period when Kojiro was in a slump, when he accidentally discovered his strong affinity for grass-type elves. He referred to this special ability as the forest power, alongside the everlasting power. Considering that Kojiro is loved by Ashihara and Desert Noah, the conceptualized setting, Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Meow, Musashi. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The power of the forest has a terrifying vitality, especially in densely forested areas, making it a natural realm and capable of detecting various abilities of grass-type elves within its range. And the strong vitality brings almost a resurrection-like healing effect, which is also the confidence that Kojiro believes can treat gas bombs. However, he ignored decades of hard work and was no longer the little Jiro known as the land forest. Now that the power of the forest within the body has not been awakened, some opportunities are still needed. The gas bomb flashed through the confusion, but remained still. Kojiro chuckled and scratched the back of his head, so he stood up and said. Look around, do you have any food to fill your stomach? At present, he can be described as a destitute, with nothing on his body except for gas bombs and Pokemon ball clothes. Gas selective neglect, the gas bomb nodded and floated around the defecator. Sand. Sand. There was a shake in the grass, and Kojiro immediately turned around vigilantly to guard against it. The wild forest, especially the sparsely populated and material-rich evergreen forest, has countless wild elves, and it is not unreasonable for trainers to be called high-risk professions. Wild elves usually regard trainers who invade their territory as enemies, driving them away or even killing them. As time passed by, the things in the grass finally revealed their true colors. A cat-like creature with a similar appearance to a small domestic cat, walking upright with the power of 2 feet. It has light yellow hair, and the tail and hind paws start to turn brown. Its oval face is connected to 4 protruding cat whiskers, with no nostrils, black and brown ears, and a shiny oval gold coin stuck to its forehead. The comatose teammate finally woke up, and Meow walked over like a little adult, speaking in disbelief. Xiaojilang, you finally woke up. Is it a meow? Kojiro tried to inquire, although he really wanted to rush over and grab the other person, fiercely questioning why he left without saying goodbye, causing the 3-person team to take different paths. But everything is something that hasn't happened. Elf. Meow qualification. Green, damaged blue, strength. Normal level mid-level attribute. General features. Technical experts carrying item. Cat coins. Learn skills. Shouting, clapping surprise attack, fainting, biting, grabbing, and grabbing randomly. Special ability. Ability to speak, the result of long-term learning of human language, possessing high talent for invention and research, and losing the possibility of evolution due to shortcomings. Note. Favorite items that shine brightly. When it found the glowing object, for some reason the gold coin on its forehead also shone along. Ha! Jiro, have you fallen into a stupidity? Who else can it be besides Uncle Ben Meow? Ask this kind of idiot topic, Meow. Meow. Meanwhile, it found that today Kojiro always has a different feeling, as his behavior alone can create pressure. And in this situation, Meow only feels strange when he meets boss Sakaki. We recently destroyed the elf center in Joban City and were knocked away by a little ghost named Kochi, right feeling his chin, Kojiro said to himself. Meow. Isn't this nonsense? That Pikachu's strength is too strong, it is definitely a unique existence. If we can capture the boss of Sasaki, we will definitely get a raise and promotion. Staring at Kojiro with increasingly suspicious eyes, suspecting that this teammate might have a brain problem. Amidst the chatter, Meow's expression grew increasingly hopeful. And Kojiro whispered, sure enough, where's Musashi? Meow, this careless guy accidentally lost her backpack, causing Mr. Meow to not eat all day and starving me to death. Meow was indignant. The backpack contained all the wealth of the entire team, but due to Musashi's fist, he spoke with some caution and helplessness. Recalling the ferocity of Musashi's era, Kojiro couldn't help but smile bitterly, but his gaze was resolute. He must take over the position of captain of the rocket team's trio, in order for these two to follow his own arrangements and not affect the carefully planned action. His goal is to become the strongest trainer. Strong strength is necessary to have a voice in the entire elf world. I realized this too late in my past life and suffered too much. Kojiro will challenge the Quartz Conference and win the championship of this year. Not only is he preparing for his qualifications to succeed as the next Kanto champion, but he also doesn't want to disappoint his parents' expectations. Kanto Young Master has returned with the strongest posture for many years. Instead of being mediocre in previous lives, opening high and moving low. Leading the Sasaki family towards strength, becoming the champion and coordinating with the Rockets, dominating the entire elf world. Due to Sakaki's presence, Kojiro was unable to serve as the leader of the Rockets, and an invisible conflict of interest arose between the two. He could only temporarily avoid the sharpness. As a second-generation leader, even if facing the first-generation leader, Banmu, he still has confidence that he is more capable than the other party in leading the organization towards strength. Kojiro was not aware of Sakaki's terrifying strength, knew about the Hornet, and judged that his strength was only in the championship. In this life, Kojiro will witness the grandeur of high places and compete with those talented individuals. And now, it's time to challenge the Deep Grey Road Museum in Nibi City and win the Grey Badge. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 3_encounter the big needle bee. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Let's find her first. Kojiro planned to gather and immediately rushed on his way. His backpack was full of worthless items, so there was no need to waste time. With a strong tone and decisive actions, Meow didn't have a chance to deny it and was about to lift his foot and leave. Suddenly, there was a distant sound in my ear, and there seemed to be someone crying and howling in the distance. Don't chase me, go away. Get out of here. Ah. It hurts so much. The hurried footsteps were getting closer and closer, and Kojiro could clearly see the person coming in his sight. Her bright red hair was like a crescent moon, with handsome features. However, at this moment, she was in a state of embarrassment and ran wildly in a panic. Elf. Arbor Snake qualification. Dark yellow strength. Normal level mid-level elf. Big needle bee qualification. Red strength. Internship level advanced elf. Big needle bee qualification. Light orange strength. Normal level low. Level. Even if the elves in the retrieved Poké Ball reach the detection range, data can still be detected. Buzz. Buzz. The sound of flapping wings followed closely behind, only to discover that behind Musashi, 2 or 3 powerful hornets were chasing her relentlessly, occasionally raising their guns and piercing her fiercely. Meow. What the hell is going on? Musashi is really amazing. How did he provoke the terrifying hornet? Kojiro, let's run quickly. I don't want to be poked into a hornet's nest. Meow widened his eyes and frantically turned around and ran, not forgetting his teammate beside him. He and Kojiro often suffered from the oppression of the Tyrannosaurus rex. Now even the female Tyrannosaurus rex is not a match for a few big hornets, and there is no idea of helping. Moreover, Musashi's skin is rough and his flesh is thick, so self-protection is more important. If she doesn't run, what if she rushes over and uses herself as a shield? In just a few seconds, it had already rushed out of a distance of more than 10 meters. Meow didn't forget to look back, but found that Kojiro was standing in place without moving. It froze for a moment. On the other hand, Musashi also saw the two of them and noticed that Meow's movements had just become disheartened. Unexpectedly, Kojiro wiped away the non-existent tears from the corners of her eyes with her hand. Her face moved. Kojiro, I will remember your sacrifice from beginning to end. Meow and Musashi never imagined that Kojiro had the ability to defeat these giant hornets. What is a trainer? We are villainous characters. If I didn't have time to make machines, I would be afraid of a few big hornets. As a result, Kojiro's actions surprised both of them, and he began directing the gas. Mud attack, hitting the face or wings of the hornet. Meow. No, right. Kojiro, have you become a trainer yet? Don't show off in front of Uncle Meow, be careful not to wait until you have a blue nose and swollen face. Meow has an anxious expression on its face. After spending a long time with the three of them, it thinks it knows each other well and is a trainer. Impossible, absolutely impossible. And, with just a gas bomb, can you hit it with your head? Kojiro, try to delay them as much as possible. Meow and I will definitely come back to save you delaying time. Finding a reasonable explanation, Musashi earnestly promised that she had already imagined the scene of Kojiro being violently beaten by several large hornets. Surprisingly avoiding the piercing gunshot, Musashi crossed over Kojiro's position and survived, with a faint pain in the area where he was attacked. Meow, Xiajilang, you're stupid. Meow felt somewhat unworthy of him. Gas. Waiting in front of the excrement removal officer, the gas bomb resolutely made up its mind and was ready to accompany Kojiro to be beaten. Staring nervously at a few large hornets, not believing that he could really defeat them. The holes on his body were emitting gas, and the gas popped open. Several dark sludge spewed out and quickly headed towards the big needle bee. Puff. The distance between the two sides is very close, and coupled with the fast pursuit speed of the big hornet, it cannot stop the car in response to the oncoming black mud and rushes straight towards it. In the end, the natural hit rate was extremely high, and one of them was hit on the wing, causing a sudden drop in speed. The other two didn't have such good luck, being dodged or hit. The main reason is that the gas bomb has not undergone systematic training and can have ordinary level strength, mostly thanks to its good talent and time endurance. Turbid mist. But Kojiro's goal was achieved, and the speed of several large hornets was forced to stop. Gas. The gas bomb quickly spun and the protruding holes on its body emitted thick gray mist, drifting forward and quickly enveloping the fighting area. The big hornets, deeply trapped in it, were slightly panicked and their vision was severely restricted. They frantically flapped their wings in an attempt to blow away the thick fog. Ultimately, it is in vain. Their wings are as thin as cicada wings, at most only supporting their own flight. As time passed, the missile needle became increasingly impatient, piercing through the thick fog and indiscriminately strafing. Calmly avoiding, Kojiro continued to give instructions. Poisonous gas, charge in this direction and use impact. He has a clear understanding of the position of the giant hornet and will definitely not give the opponent a chance to react and rush out, while the toxic gas further strengthens the dense fog density, increasing the probability of poisoning. According to the finger of the hand, the gas bomb executed without hesitation, spraying gas from the hole on its body and forcefully crashing forward. I only heard bang. With a loud sound, accompanied by the restless flapping of his wings, Kojiro reminded him in a timely manner, after hitting, step back and follow my command, this position. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. For _ the law of the jungle, natural selection. You are listening at novel full.audio. Continuously pulling, the thick fog slowly dissipated, and the gas bomb with scars was full of fatigue on his face, but his expression was filled with excitement. On the ground below his position, there lay 3 large, lifeless bees, 2 of which had a faint purple hue on their bodies. Clearly a characteristic of being in a toxic state. Gas. The gas bomb never expected that it would have more enemies, and immediately admired the fecal shovel official who commanded it from the bottom of its heart. Breathing heavily, he drifted up to Kojiro and happily invited him for credit. How could this be possible? I must have hallucinated. Musashi, who often exclaimed in surprise in the distance, couldn't believe it. She has seen a few powerful hornets before. Did Kojiro open them up? Especially when commanding the gas bomb, Musashi's expression froze as he casually held a Pokémon ball. Inside the Pokémon ball is an innocent ape snake. Obviously. Ape snake's gas bomb is stronger than Kojiro's. Why can't I defeat those big hornets? She murmured a sole question to herself, but a sentence drifted over and almost broke through her defense. Meow, can it be that you, as a trainer, can't handle it? Abe Snake followed the wrong person, which resulted in not being able to unleash his true strength. In my opinion. Ouch. Meow talked confidently, but upon careful analysis, he did not notice that the woman's face was getting darker and a huge fist was falling from the sky. It covered its head and screamed in pain, immediately distancing itself from Musashi, afraid that the female Tyrannosaurus would go crazy again. Cut. Practice more dishes, don't play if you can't afford to lose. Similarly, Meow Meow was also shocked by the scene just now. Is this still the gentle and even a bit cowardly little Jiro? It clearly saw the other person's gaze, full of extreme confidence, extremely sharp. Solve them. As the words fell, Kojiro became a bit cold and gave the final command. A few large needle bees can also be considered a harvest, but unfortunately they were not used as red and white balls for collection. Moreover, insect-type elves are generally cheap, especially large needle bees, so it is better to dissect them into elf materials. The venomous sacs and needles of the great needlebee contain rich toxic energy, which greatly helps to enhance the gas bullets with toxic properties. Gas. Gas Bullet's eyes tightened for a moment, as if unsure of the order from the defecating officer. What are you doing in a daze? Kill them, dig out the venomous sacs, and digest them with bee needles. Kojiro's tone was even more indifferent and unquestionable. It's ridiculous to say that their trio, known as villains, never killed elves during this period, which can be said to be very kind. The gas bomb hesitated, but Kojiro frowned and said, they are enemies, and don't be soft-hearted towards them. Natural selection and the law of the jungle, if we lose, they are the end result. I don't want to say it again for the third time. I immediately closed my eyes, and the invisible pressure spread all around. It was necessary to see blood, otherwise it would not have triggered the ferocity that elves should have. Abandoning unnecessary kindness is the key to dealing with any battle calmly and showing the strongest posture. Otherwise, being decisive and decisive, even minute by second, will be a serious weakness in combat mistakes. If the gas bomb does not obey the command and management, he should decide whether to plan it into the second tier instead of cultivating it as the main force with heart. Although there are many factors to consider the strength of elves, undoubtedly the most important one is their personality. Even if a cowardly and timid elf is a quasi-god, it is difficult for him to exert the necessary strength. Such a thing, Kojiro would not even take a second glance. He wants a ruthless character. Even if he cannot meet this requirement, he must unconditionally obey orders. This is the premise for him to treat and value cultivating his own elves well. At this moment, Kojiro is cold and ruthless, giving people a very dangerous feeling. Meow Meow and Musashi wiped their eyes in disbelief, and Kojiro's transformation once again refreshed their understanding. The gas bomb seemed to be thinking, then silently drifted to the side of a few large hornets and began to move its hands. Opening their mouths to nibble on their bodies, the great hornets had no resistance due to their loss of combat ability, and the scene was extremely cruel. Finally, the venomous sac and bee needle were rapidly devoured by gas bullets, and finally returned to the side of the fecal digger, leaving scattered debris on the ground. Well done, only in this way can we become stronger and stronger. Reaching out his hand to gently caress Gas Bullet's head, Kojiro smiled gently, as if the previous demon was not him at all. The strong contrast almost caused Meow Meow and Musashi's waist to flash off. Let's go, there's been quite a commotion here, staying here will cause other troubles. As a reminder, Kojiro walked towards a certain direction. Wait, the backpack I found is still there, it's just that I'm the captain of the team, Kojiro. You're just a member. To be honest, Musashi was a bit hesitant to talk to Kojiro, but he felt that being the captain was very useless, and he had to grit his head and speak hard. Meow Meow suddenly remembered something and anxiously said, yes. Our important notebook for contacting the boss is in the bag. Unconsciously, they looked at the young man's back as if seeking approval. After looking at the sky, it was getting late. As we are currently in the evergreen forest, we cannot reach Nibi City by night unless we take a flying elf. Kojiro nodded with the intention of setting up camp, and the three of them arrived at the location of their backpacks. Fortunately, the contents of the backpack were not lost. All kinds of wine bottle caps, which he once regarded as precious as life, are now worthless. For a day without eating, the three of them were all hungry, and Kojiro was considering the food for the gas bomb, which was also related to the progress speed of cultivating elves in the future. Unfortunately, he is actually a master cultivator who masters the formulas for 18 advanced energy blocks with different attributes. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 5_energy block, contact Sakaki. You are listening at novel full.audio. The birth of energy blocks originated from the industry of coordination, which belongs to the category of food consumed by elves. At present, the common impression of this thing is to enhance the beauty of elves. Being seen as a flashy and impractical product by cultivators and trainers is purely a waste of the innate combat talent of elves. But in later generations, as the development of elf-related professions became increasingly prosperous, the value of energy blocks was truly discovered, and energy blocks were modified according to the standards of elf food. It will be found that resource value can be more effectively utilized and the progress speed of elves can be improved. Therefore, until the moment of Kojiro, energy blocks have become an irreplaceable mainstream. As a second-generation product, it is reasonable to obtain the corresponding formula. The energy blocks are also divided into levels, with beginners being the lowest, intermediate being acceptable, and advanced being the best. Even anyone who masters the production of advanced energy blocks can be called a master cultivator. The applicability of advanced energy feedback is still applicable to elves who have almost reached the championship level. Long-term consumption of elves can enhance their understanding of corresponding attributes and accelerate their progress speed. Primary energy blocks are mainstream below the level of the owner, and intermediate energy blocks are comparable to the top-tier elf food on the market, which is enough to show the gold content of advanced energy blocks. The corresponding qualifications for the level of strength are: apprentice, ordinary, elite, museum owner, quasi-heavenly king, and champion. The sunset glow and the distant horizon extend with a red glow. As the sky gradually darkened, the surrounding forests fell silent, and the sounds of insects and wild beasts could be heard from time to time. At the campfire, a bright red light emanated, and the three of them sat on the ground with a crackling sound from the burning wood. The wind blew gently from behind, causing the Meow to shiver uncontrollably. The darkness of the forest seemed to have countless pairs of eyes staring at them. Kojiro pondered and looked at the situation. Undoubtedly, money is the most scarce thing at the current stage, whether it is the clothing, food, housing, and transportation for the group to travel, or the materials needed to make advanced energy blocks. In fact, this is not a difficult problem, as long as we find a way to contact the Sasaki family besides Joban Forest, it will be easily solved. However, he currently does not want to see Lu Meijia, this annoying fiancé, return to the family like a bereaved dog. Sasaki is a huge family, and although Kojiro's father was the head of the family, he had to compromise in the face of the expedition. In the end, Kojiro was not supported and was caught and bound back home. Running away from home for many years has been the result of the family's tacit approval. The best way to deal with doubts is to demonstrate his strength and prove that Kojiro is a qualified heir, and winning the Quartz Conference Championship is just the first step. Little Jiro's eyes were deep. Musashi and Meow were eating tree fruit and rice and vegetable roll by themselves. There were 3 rice and vegetable roll left, and the tree fruit was picked by Xiaojilang in the forest. The quiet atmosphere was finally broken, and he said, Meow, contact Sakaki boss. Like a stone splashing into the water, the two of them were puzzled when they heard the words. Meow began to ask the reason, but it seems like we don't have anything worth reporting to the organization. Delaying Sakaki's boss will only leave a bad impression. Meow, yeah, Kojiro, what's up with you? Let's talk about it first and discuss with us to see if it's worth reporting to the leader of Banmo. Musashi agreed. Obviously, the two of them held opposing views and even mercilessly rejected Kojiro's request, which was due to the other party's recent stunning changes, which made them speak out well. The current rocket team has not formed a team for long, and the tacit friendship between them is not deep. Contacting the leader of them is definitely the top priority in the team. From all aspects of words and actions, Musashi and Meow are full of respect and admiration for them. In their impression, the leader is a perfect leader. If it weren't for experiencing a lifetime, Kojiro was no different from them, and Sakaki's personality charm was extremely strong. Kojiro was deeply impressed, but once he stepped out of the frame and had insight and thoughts to consider for himself, he would no longer blindly worship and be loyal. Being loyal to others is betraying oneself, and based on this alone, he harbors a great distance from the other two. It is not surprising to say that choosing between himself and Sakaki will only lead to betrayal for Kojiro. Therefore, currently Kojiro's trust in Musashi Meow is not high and may even hinder the next plan. He didn't speak again, only a pair of plain and terrifying eyes. In the stalemate of the scene, an invisible aura emerged all over his body. In the end, the two chose to compromise, and Meow opened his laptop to operate the contact. Invisibly, Kojiro gradually took the dominant position in the team. The loading on the laptop came to a sudden halt, and the screen immediately caught the eye. In the gloomy room, a tall figure sat elegantly on the sofa, wearing an elegant and stylish black suit, revealing the lower half of his face. As he reached out to touch the cat boss lying on the sofa, the latter let out a lazy and coquettish sound. This action really made the cat, who was constantly watching the screen, grit its teeth and want to replace him. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 6, 10 million and 5,000,000 points. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Say. Cross-legged, the tone of the person in the picture is plain, and the three of them can hear clearly. Meow immediately jumped out and said with a worshipful gaze, Meow. Dear Sakaki, when can I always be by your side? The person in the picture ignored the answer, and Meow retreated to the side, but after a while, he came back to life full of blood, full of fighting spirit as the cat boss. Sakaki boss, Kojiro has something to talk to you about. Musashi, stop talking and aim the camera of the notebook at the location of Kojiro. When facing Kojiro, the person with only half a face in the picture raised his lips slightly. It seems that you have changed a lot. Looking at the talent with an extremely sharp gaze, Sakaki contacted the other end and suddenly noticed the change in Kojiro, which made him feel a bit more interesting. This is a change in human aura, which Sakaki can keenly perceive. Indeed, I want the support of the organization to challenge this session of the Quartz Conference to infiltrate the alliance and return to inherit the family. Now, I am very financially strapped and have no choice but to contact Mr. Banmu. Respectful posture, Kojiro truthfully informed. Before the people in the picture could react, Musashi and Meow were already dumbfounded. They finally understood why Kojiro came to contact Sakaki. Isn't it just an advance on salary? What I said about being so tall and upscale suddenly gave me a vague premonition. Really, why did you just listen to Kojiro's request? It's over. In front of Sakaki, the two dared not act recklessly, their heads drooping and their minds filled with frustration. They cursed Kojiro for being cowardly and destroyed Sakaki's impression of the team. It's just money, grit your teeth and work hard, just endure it. However, just money, the two completely misunderstood the meaning behind Kojiro's words. Moreover, Musashi and Meow were stunned by Sakaki's next reaction. I will have the real bird arrange it. Remember, organizations only need valuable people. The screen is completely interrupted, and the laptop shows that the call has ended. Since seeing Kojiro again, Sakaki has determined that he is a capable person, and regardless of the cooperation involving the Sasaki family behind the scenes, he will always agree to this insignificant request from the other party. Meow. Am I in my dream? Since Sakaki has really agreed to Kojiro, he's lying down. After a long time of regaining consciousness, Meow wiped his eyes and thought he had hallucinations. Musashi also froze in the same place, becoming more and more aware of the unfathomable as he looked at Kojiro. However, Kojiro breathed a sigh of relief, and it was not surprising that Sakaki was indeed a powerful leader. In less than a minute, the laptop rang a prompt again, indicating a link to the bank account and the interface for contacting them.The. First, he clicked on his bank account, and suddenly Musashi and Meow crowded in front of the tablet, saying, "Many zeros. A whole 10 million, the two of them have never seen so much money in their lifetime, while the average family in the elf world only has tens of thousands of living expenses every year. But this is just a small dish, the big head is still behind." Clicking on that link, all three of them realized that the interface was very familiar, and only then did they realize that it was the main exchange platform they had used while still at the rocket's base. This account has the highest privileges and can earn up to 500,000 points. You should know that the exchange rate between points and Pokémon is 1.100. Equivalent to 50 million. There are various types of conversion items on the platform, and due to the highest permissions, almost everything can be changed at all times. Inside, countless trainers pursue only tens of thousands of points for the Imperial 3. Junshin, it's only worth breaking 100,000 points at most. It is worth mentioning that points can be converted into Pokémon coins, but Pokémon coins cannot always be converted into points. The various resources on the platform can be considered as the accumulation of the entire organization of the rocket team, but the value lies in the rarity of some resources that ordinary trainers cannot access. 500,000 points, an ordinary rocket team member who has worked tirelessly for a lifetime, to a height that cannot be accumulated. Especially in terms of authority, Sakaki attaches great importance to Kojiro, equivalent to the high-level cadres in the organization. After understanding everything, Musashi and Meow's gaze at Kojiro changed once again. Meow suddenly realized that the family mentioned was about Kojiro's background. Dao. Xiajilang, when you talk about your family, are you the eldest young master? The only thought and reasonable explanation. Its tone gradually pleased. Although he is greedy for 10,500,000 points, this is something given by Sakaki boss. Meow has no ulterior motives, and Musashi is also full of joy to bring his relationship closer. We are teammates, Kojiro. You won't embezzle it alone. Well, you both of them didn't answer their questions, but Kojiro turned off his tablet and released a gas bomb. The two were startled by this posture. Meow. Shouldn't you tear your face for the boss's reward, cut? Being stingy. I mistakenly thought I didn't care about my teammates and wanted to take action. Kojiro suddenly laughed helplessly and turned his head into the rudimentary tent, saying, "Rest well and prepare for tomorrow." Gas Bullet and Abe Snake are responsible for guarding the night. The two of them awkwardly smiled as they walked into the tent one before the other, knowing that they wouldn't be so ruthless. Thinking about the days ahead, it was truly beautiful. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 7_Shorts Youth, Imagine Nido King. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Leaving the territory of the Joban forest and walking towards the city of Nibi, the overgrown grass gradually became a standard human path. Leaving the wilderness, I gradually discovered passing by some towns and villages, while also encountering many trainers. For example, at this moment, Kojiro was blocked in front of him, and a young man around the age of 12 or 13 was standing. He launched an elf challenge at him, saying, "Are you interested in competing with a passing trainer?" Still holding a red and white ball in his hand, ready to take off, with several teenagers of the same age watching from not far behind. "Sure," Kojiro answered concisely and clearly. He had already pulled out the gas bomb's Pokemon ball and continued, "The bet is 10 tree fruits, you take 100 yuan." The young man nodded without any objection. The value of the items on both sides was equal, and the Poke ball was thrown and opened almost simultaneously, with a sudden appearance of white light, bang. Bang. Kojiro saw clearly the spirit of the young man, the fierce sparrow. Bird sprites. The back is black, and the entire chest and abdomen are beige with fine stripes. It has a disheveled brown feather crown on its head. The beak of a bird is short and hooked. The light pink feet have 3 claws, wings are pink, edges are light pink, and there are 3 brown tail feathers. Elf. Flame sparrow qualification. Orange strength. Normal level, low. Level. It seems that evolution is about to take place, no wonder it keeps hovering around, waiting for trainers passing by. The battle was imminent, but it came and went in a hurry. Kojiro easily won the game and took 100 yuan from the boy's unwilling gaze. After greeting the waiting Meow and Musashi, they continued to move forward and murmured to themselves, "This kind of challenge is not very effective. It's better to train and polish skills honestly than to engage in fierce battles with wild elves." Accepting challenges is mainly the first time after becoming a trainer, it's just a novelty. Shorty boys and insect-catching boys are the largest group of trainers and also the lowest level of people. After reaching the age of 10, choose 1 out of 3 from the royal family. Hehe, there's no such a beautiful possibility, it's just a treatment that only the legitimate trainers of the alliance have. Otherwise, a young man full of dreams, who would be willing to catch green caterpillars and unicorns to waste time. The treatment and accommodation at the Elf Center are not free, and the challenge at the dojo also requires payment of a certain fee and appointment waiting. Otherwise, during this period, it would be difficult for Xiao Ji's 3-legged skills to gather all the badges of the Taoist temple. Each region is dominated by the 8 Avenues Pavilion, except for the Orange Islands. The 8 Avenues Pavilion is the layout of the region. In addition, larger towns will have the Dao Pavilion, and the badges obtained from the challenge can also be used to participate in regional conferences. But it is equivalent to one-time use, while the badge of the 8 Avenues Hall is permanent. To become a legitimate trainer, one must make a certain contribution to the alliance. Distinguishing usually depends on whether there is an elf guidebook. The legitimate trainers enjoy too many privileges, so Kojiro naturally won't fall behind. In the arrangement of Secretary Jinyao, you can go to the Rocket Team Company branch in Nibi City to obtain his and Musashi's elf guidebook, which is more convenient for traveling in Kanto and various regions. Nibi City, located at the foot of a huge rocky mountain, is known for its rocky city. The nearby Wild Moon Mountain is famous for its moonstones, attracting countless trainers to excavate and search for treasures. The Nido tribe is one of the most common elves among them. Because their final forms, Nido King and Nido Queen, both require the moonstone to evolve. Coincidentally, the next target for Kojiro to conquer the elves is Nidorang. Mainly derived from the giant moonstones and hidden vitality of the Pippi tribe, these 2 reasons. Along the way, following Xiao Ji to capture Pikachu, I actually stumbled upon too many precious treasures by chance. Unfortunately, Xiaozilang and even the Rockets trio had been obsessed with that Pikachu. After becoming a second-generation leader in his previous life, Kojiro had a deep concern for the giant moon stone on Mount Tsukiyoshi. Unfortunately, it was too late and the Pippi clan had long disappeared without a trace, not found. Characteristics exist in every elf in the world, and over the next few decades, through continuous development, humans discovered the existence of special individuals in certain elf characteristics. And King Nido is an excellent example of how he evolved from vitality to coercion. Carrying the item Life Pearl and using some additional skills with additional effects will unleash unparalleled power. The circle that once swept trainers. This has led to the emergence of some bizarre scenes, where the ordinary King Nido, with a body size of 1.4 meters, usually hits the Imperial 3 at the same level. The vitality of Nidoran and the treasure of life have skyrocketed as a result, and countless trainers are eager to use one or more to break their heads. Until his death, there was one of Kojiro's main Pokémon, the Nido King, but it was not a force trait. He can be called the Kojiro of the land forest, and the land at the forefront has a deep connection with Sakaki, the current owner of the Joban Road Museum. After becoming a second-generation leader, it is only natural for the opponent to leave behind the method of cultivating ground-type elves. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 8_Rocket Team Company Store, Elf Illustrated. You are listening at novelfull.audio. There are only 2 requirements for Nidoran. The first is the hidden characteristic vitality. The second must start personally from the incubation of the elf egg. Under the premise of having a giant moonstone, qualifications are not a problem. In Kojiro's vision, only by making good use of that unique moonstone, can the upper limit of the Nido King personally cultivated be no lower than the champion. As for starting from the Pokémon egg, it is to avoid the possibility of rebellion, and those who hatch will regard the first glimpse of the Pokémon or humans as their closest existence. Greatly reduces the process of cultivating emotions, and the newly born elves have strong shaping abilities. Walking on the streets of the city, the longest seen elves were Little Fist Stone, Wrist Power, Howley, Nido Clan, and so on. Kojiro glanced in the direction of the deep gray Daoguan and then accelerated his steps towards the position of the Rocket Team branch. With Sakaki's support, he was finally able to let go of his hands and feet. Making potential potions to enhance gas bombs, poison-based advanced energy blocks, and purchasing a large amount of Nidoran elf eggs from the cultivation house are currently the top priorities. Meow. Kojiro, if you become a trainer, should you take action against the little devils? Looking left and right, Meow hesitated to speak. Wearing the team uniform, Musashi didn't pay attention to the gazes of passers-by and said, "And our villainous characters team, where should we go? This is not a conflict, and we are no longer on the Rocket Team's personnel list, belonging to a special team that only obeys the boss." Xiao too is also challenging the Daoguan, with similar routes. Pikachu is just a character like a wild dog on the roadside. With the sudden revelation, Kojiro stopped talking and left behind the 2 who were shocked and pale. Meow followed suit and said, "How could it be that we're not on the personnel list, Meow? Think about it, how did ordinary members get in touch with the leader of the organization? Mr. Sakaki, the Rocket Company store is not far away, and Kojiro raises a sole question. Except for being a young master of the Sasaki family, after inheriting the second generation, he realized that the identities of the 2 people around him were not simple. Musashi's mother was a brave cadre who sacrificed in the previous generation, while Meow was a high-intelligence elf who could speak except for the divine beast. And the same goes for the once considered arch-rivals, Kozo and Amato, who are related to Sakaki's willingness to wipe his butt. Entering the store, an employee quickly approached with a professional smirk and said, "2 guests, what kind of service do you need?" "I am Kojiro, reporting to your manager will understand." Simulate the aura of the museum owner level left and right, and the employees turned pale under pressure. Then he nodded in panic and fled to the front desk, where he soon saw the staff making phone calls without stopping. A small fluster appeared, and Kojiro wrapped his arms around his chest and closed his eyes to rest. Suddenly, there was a hurried sound of footsteps from upstairs. A chubby middle-aged man came downstairs, dressed in decent attire with several Pokémon balls hanging from his waist. Elf. Long rock qualification. Light green level. Master level medium level elf. Shawarong qualification. Green level. Master level low level. After a few glances, Kojiro realized that this person was both virtual and real, and the strength of the master level was not weak. In previous years, it was at the level of the top 8 in the regional conference. Being able to serve as a branch manager must be a member of the upper middle class of the Rockets team, but at this moment, the chubby middle-aged man has not shown any signs of expression. Instead, he lowered his head and bowed to greet him, lowering his posture. "Sir, please follow me upstairs. There are only 2 people coming to pick up the things that have been sitting there." After speaking, he quickly groped around and respectfully handed over a black and gold card. "This is a VIP card from Rocket Company, but there is only one arranged on it. Any industry consumption under Rocket Company can be discounted by 30%. Naturally holding it in his hand, Kojiro waved his hand to signal, and the chubby middle-aged man quickly turned around to lead the way, with a greedy smile constantly hanging on his face. Despite being in front of employees, the expressions of the employees in the store were all shocked, and they lowered their heads or went to greet the guests, realizing the arrival of the big shot. Kojiro's face remained indifferent as usual, but Musashi and Meow were very satisfied. He stood up with his head raised and his face full of pride, his smile uncontrollably unrestrained. In the past, it could be said that life was tough with food and shelter. Where have you ever enjoyed this kind of treatment now? It's so refreshing. Upstairs into a room, the chubby middle-aged man handed over 2 elf guides, each displaying basic information about Kojiro and Musashi, proving that they were legitimate members of the alliance. The appearance color of the elf guidebook is red, similar to a small laptop. The 2 of them each took it, and Meow urgently shouted, "Meow. What about mine?" The chubby middle-aged man was first surprised and then apologized, "Mr. Meow, I'm sorry, you're an elf, and the elf guidebook is something humans use." Haha. Musashi laughed so hard that tears were about to come out. He patted Meow's head and said, Meow, they say you're an elf." "Humph. I'm the noble Meow master." Meow's face was filled with anger, his arms wrapped around his face and he stepped on his feet with displeasure, but he had no choice but to give up. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 9_true fragrance warning. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Leaving the store, the chubby middle-aged man waved goodbye at the door, while Kojiro followed the map from the elf guidebook and headed towards a breeding house. The daily necessities needed for travel include 2 advanced backpacks with an internal space of 20 cubic meters, several of which remain unchanged. The raw materials for high-level energy blocks with poison, ground, and general attributes, as well as the tree fruit mixer, have been obtained. However, some materials for the enhancement potion formulated based on the gas bomb are still lacking, and it will take a few days to wait. Moreover, the tree fruit mixer during this period is different from decades later and needs to be disassembled and improved. Kojiro or the Rockets trio are actually experts in technology manufacturing, which is not difficult. The total consumption is around 500,000 yuan, and as it goes on, it may seem like a lot to spend 10 million yuan, but in reality, it won't take long. Having visited several breeding houses in a row, Kojiro bought no less than a few hundred Nidoran Pokémon eggs and waited for them to hatch and screen out Nidoran with vibrant characteristics within a week. If it weren't for his detection function, it wouldn't be so troublesome to detect the situation data inside the elf egg. Without rushing to challenge the dojo, Kojiro rented a yard for about a week. Now, he will solve the food problem for the elves and train gas bombs appropriately. The minimum elf requirement for challenging the dojo is 2-on-2, so he plans to make do with Meow or Musashi's Abe Snake, and wait for first-class Ash and others. After all, things like the giant moonstone and some highly qualified elves and treasures were discovered along the way, and Kojiro's understanding was thanks to his relentless pursuit of Pikachu. Bang! The elf eggs were placed in one room, and Kojiro took out the fruit mixer from his backpack and landed on the ground with a muffled sound. This thing doesn't need to be connected or plugged in. It uses the sun to store energy and also has an electrical transmission port for the elf system. Holding a tool in hand, he began to skillfully and orderly dismantle it. Soon, the tree fruit mixer turned into a pile of complex parts, and Xiaozi frowned and pondered. Although reborn, not all aspects can be remembered clearly, and he never thought of another chance, so there is always a difference between his actions and his imagination. Musashi and Meow beside him stared wide and wide, while the latter spoke out, "Kojiro, did you forget that a skilled machine maker is right next to you, Meow?" After speaking, its expression was calm and slightly arrogant. Musashi also showed some interest and was constantly discouraged, finally reaching her strengths. "I am improving the tree fruit mixer, which can make energy blocks. Energy blocks are the most effective food for improving the strength of elves. We will draw up the blueprint later for improvement, and each of you will be responsible for a part explaining the situation. One will eventually have an impression. The pen is used to paint on paper, and the tree and fruit mixer has three main functions, representing three important steps. 1. Provide a removal and separation device to effectively remove the main nutrients from the material, facilitating better mixing in the next step. 2. Overspeed mixing, utilizing unparalleled high-speed rotation by human labor, thoroughly blends various nutrients to form their most precious, crystalline, energy liquid. 3. The accelerated solidification device, as the name suggests, divides the energy liquid into rows of small molds according to the prescribed program and accelerates the solidification time. The three of them were full of enthusiasm and busy until evening, and the preliminary modification of the tree fruit mixer was successful. Kojiro is still conducting production testing, with the purpose of testing, to create primary energy blocks and reduce trial and error costs. The machine can start and run normally until the end, obtaining a row of 10, proving that the modification was successful, but further adjustments are still needed. As an expert in making energy blocks, Kojiro can clearly judge, and the minimum number of energy blocks that can be successfully made at once is 20. Continuously disassembling, assembling, and fine-tuning, deep at night, the lights lit up, and the hustle and bustle of the city remained. Parts scattered everywhere in the yard, except for the constantly running numerical mixer. And three people sitting on the ground, looking at each other and smiling, meowing and exhaling. Meow. I didn't expect this thing to be quite troublesome. Energy cube, is there really the magic you said? Of course, Meow is also considered an elf and can consume general high-level energy blocks standing up and arranging the raw materials for the advanced energy blocks. Kojiro smiled meaningfully. As expected, Meow's mouth stiffened and he said, "Master Meow is human, I just starved to death. Jumping off the wall outside of death won't eat any energy blocks." Buzz. The roar of the machine kept going, and Kojiro began to operate. The raw materials added with water gradually removed impurities, leaving behind a pure liquid. Super mixing tests the maker's hands-on ability the most, as it can be considered a top cultivator, with a success rate of only 50%, sometimes even lower. But this is very high. The price of a high-level energy block before rebirth was in the tens of thousands or even tens of thousands. Oh my god! How fragrant! Kojiro, my dear teammate, please give me some more to eat, meow. Infinite taste buds erupted in my mouth, meowing my fingers as if there were countless ants crawling all over me, pleading and even playing cute. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 10_fighter, meow make a poisonous oath. You are listening at novel full.audio. The energy cube in the hand is crystal clear, emitting a pure gem-like luster, with an ultimate allure to the elves. The function of advanced energy blocks can be reflected in elf mourning and can also be used for fighters. Fighters are almost the only way for ordinary people to obtain supernatural power, and the heavenly king of Kanto, Hiba, is a perfect humanoid monster. The master of fighters can compete with champion-level monster power on an equal footing. Essentially, a fighter is a person who gradually transforms into a fighting, humanoid elf with general attributes. Speaking of Shiba, this master of martial arts has devoted his entire life to specializing in martial arts, but he never expected to shine in his later years with a super-sized steel snake. This big steel snake is on the Great Rock Snake, which Kojiro had seen before, and now resides in Miyacha Mountain behind Jinshin Town. According to different attributes, the advanced energy blocks produced will appear in different colors. For example, the general style on Kojiro's hand will appear gray-white. He pretended to feel a wave of remorse and said, "But Meow Meow, you're not even an elf and don't need training. It's a waste of using advanced energy blocks on someone like you who doesn't want to make progress. It's better to give your portion to Musashi's aide Snake Meow." What does that mean? I am a team member, and I have put in such a great effort when renovating the machine. Xiajilang, you have to give up the grinding and kill the donkey, right? Ah. By the way, the energy block is so good, why don't we report it to Sakaki boss? Meow Meow jumped anxiously and suddenly had a brilliant idea. She replaced the cat boss touched by Sakaki with herself, with a look of enjoyment on her face. This is possible, but it will take some time. After pondering, Kojiro's tone cooled down and he secretly felt grateful that he had not declared the differences between the three types of energy blocks: initial, intermediate, and advanced. In front of the two of them. Before having enough strength, advanced energy blocks can only be self-sufficient, while beginners and intermediate blocks can give back to Sakaki. Moreover, the production process of these two types of energy blocks is much easier and simpler than that of advanced ones, which can achieve mass production and overall improve the strength of the rocket team in the middle and lower levels. This is actually what Sakaki wants to see more, and he can also get more investment when the time comes. Meow Meow couldn't wait anymore and excitedly said, "Meow. That's great. When are you planning to report it?" It even had the idea of embezzling credit, but unfortunately did not understand the principle of making energy blocks. He. It was easy to see the other party's caution, and Kojiro declared, judging from his mood, "It's within this year. I don't want you to secretly act on your own and swear to me that if you betray me, you will never receive the love of Sakaki boss." Wow. Is this too serious? Meow. Meow Meow immediately protested, and Kojiro's response was, "If I don't agree, I won't prepare your portion of energy blocks in the future." Sure enough, the words fell, and Meow Meow seemed like a frosted eggplant, devoid of any strength, making a vow under the full gaze of Kojiro. Musashi beside him, but his gaze also became cautious. Click. Click. In a room, accompanied by the sound of eggshells cracking, a divine light shot out through the cracks, illuminating the dimly lit surroundings in the blink of an eye. The light is not dazzling, like a brilliant galaxy that nurtures life, making people feel waves of peace and tranquility. Yo. When the white light dissipates, one of them has a purple body with dark purple patches, big ears with a blue interior, small front teeth, and small red eyes. There are poisonous horns on the top of the head, and 3 rows of poisonous thorns on the back, including the longer Nidorang in the middle row. Forced by the hunger felt inside the body at birth, he kept gnawing on the eggshells, while the only person in the room sighed deeply. Struggle. Another inappropriate goal. Wearing a mask, Kojiro stared at a data graph in front of him and couldn't help but clench his hands into fists. Elf. Nidorang qualification. Dark yellow level. Childhood stage characteristic. Struggle spirit. This was already the dozens of Nidorang hatchlings, and Kojiro couldn't help feeling his luck turning black. However, looking at the remaining elf eggs in the room, he could only patiently wait. He held the elf guidebook in his hand, and the screen of the guidebook played scenes from the yard. Under surveillance, the gas bomb had been training hard in the past few days. Yo. Finally, he discovered someone else. The newly hatched Nidorang regarded him as a close person and ran towards Kojiro with joy. The latter's expression under the mask became more complicated. Helplessly, he took out a red and white ball and threw it accurately at Nidorang. Dong dong. The Pokémon ball has been successfully subdued, and the only thing Kojiro can do is to conceal his true face. For this little guy who cannot see his true face clearly, when he finds the trainer who will adopt him in the future, he will still hold on to this kiss. These hatched Nidorang without vitality characteristics will be sold at a low price in the breeding house, and some of them with high potential may have higher value. The cultivation houses all have appraisers, but they cannot achieve the same accuracy as their testing. The room fell silent again, and Kojiro waited quietly for the next Pokémon egg to hatch, with sharp eyes. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th.